There's so many shit I've been talking about for the last year and a half on my trending topic. So I'm just gonna flash back and just keep on. Big ass thing this big, putting a bore in people's head. I said, oh, you could have did better. You could have did better. Go put that big old thing in somebody's head. Now let's get into Trump. Just a little bit of Trump. Trump calls for the death penalty for migrants who kill American citizens. So we're going to kind of just give you an intro about this because we talk about the migrants and we haven't talked a lot about Trump. I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to possibly Trump don't incite me. I'm gonna be honest. He don't. She don't either. I guess I y'all probably not gonna like this. I wrote Trump off. Like Trump is who he is. I don't think that he has my best interest in mind as a black woman. I think
Jay.
he has his best interest in mind himself for himself and his business partners and even outside of being a black woman, I think that I don't fit in the geographics of who he support, which is big business owners behind the, a lot of these inflation issues and housing issues. I definitely think that that's his friends. So I don't talk about Trump because I wrote him off. Um, yeah, maybe I'll follow up because I was going down a path of showing Agenda 2025 and also Trump Agenda 42. And both of them are horrific to me. I don't think it serves the underserved community. And underserved doesn't mean black. It means us that's broke, like you and me. Okay. That pay a lot of taxes. That's struggling to get our kids to school. The college is inflated. Insurance is inflated. Healthcare is inflated with bad healthcare. So much. And that's not what these people are talking about. I don't want to just hear a slogan. I want a fucking plan. I don't think neither one of them. So I just want to give you a heads up of why I don't talk about Trump too much. I don't fucking have the energy for him. The first 6 months of his election was enough for me to just poop me the fuck out. To say, hey, you better focus on yourself. Focus on, like, it's true. Some of the things he said woke us up. You need to create a business. You need to be self-sufficient. America was built on small business and individual communities. So he did spark a light in my head. I'll talk about him because I definitely know he ain't for me. He don't give a damn about me. Trump don't give a fuck about us. It is what it is. A lot of it is just publicity. Get back in that position. Do I think he will be better than what we're going to see today with Kamala? In some aspects, yes. A lot of aspects, especially if we have to go through another 4 year of this migration shit. We won't survive it. Something got to change, and I know he's gonna shut that down. But in the back of my mind, I still remember him saying when they talked about this, and he was like, "How are we gonna get people to take it?" And he was like, "Well, we have armies, we have generals, we have the people who make people do things." And that clip is out there. And the DO Department of Defense was the people who had the rollout of it. I read a lawsuit that was against them, and because of the vaccine. So, but in the back of my head, people be double talking. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So I'm kind of like, stay out of it, but we're gonna talk about it because I know a lot of you guys are interested. And I do believe that some form of voting and being aware of what goes on around you on a local level and federal level is very important. But some things I just can't deal with. This shit give me a headache. So let's just listen to this.
Of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Oh my God. Come on. He's so weird. I'm surprised he didn't come out on no damn rap. You know how they do. They be pandering. That was a long.
To be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking
Let me see.
American.
I'm done. One more thing, y'all. I'm done. And I'm gonna say this. Y'all know y'all love Trump. Where the fuck is the piece of his ear missing? Where is it? Am I the only one that see this shit? Where was the missing piece of the ear? If the bullet went pink, it's supposed to be a piece of the ear missing. Cosmetic surgery? Huh? I'm moving forward. That's why I was y'all fucking around with people emotions. Got our young people just numb because of shit. Where is the missing part of the ear? Did y'all see it? It's a full ear, but I move forward.
Patriots, that's what you are.
Look, the full ear.
Still recovering from the hurricanes that hit Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. But my message today is very simple. No person who has inflicted the violence and terror that Kamala Harris has inflicted on this community can ever be allowed to become the president of the United States. We're not going to let it happen. It's a woman, Danielle Jurinsky.
Right,
and now America is known all throughout the world as...
I want you to get to say you about to lock them up. That's it.
We will close the border. We will stop the invasion of illegals into our country. We will defend our territory. We will not be conquered. We will not be conquered. We will reclaim our sovereignty, and Colorado will vote for Trump as a protest and signal to the world that we are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore.
Subliminal message. She said you would vote for me in protest. We will not take it. But allegedly, according to this, when we get back to our full migrant broadcast, Trump calls for the death penalty for migrants who kills American citizens. So that was something that we had showed in our last broadcast when they were talking about the migrant crisis. We had saw that hearing, and one of the parents was talking about her daughter that was unalive. So we're going to move on. I just wanted to let y'all know why I don't talk about Trump that much. But then we're going to go to the other side. We're going to tickle some feathers. So here, Kamala Harris is interviewed on Fox News. So this was the other day. It was like 24 hours ago. Girl, the hell wrong with you? You had enough years to get it together. Shit, at least come up with a good plan. I mean, like, at least have some good talking points. Shit, look at her. She fumbled the ball. Let's listen. They said that she's so desperate that she went on Fox News. And she has never been on Fox News, allegedly, at any point of her career. So they she lost the vote of black men, black women, people who are not supporting the migration issue. And he asked her key questions. And this bitch walked around it. And I want y'all to hear what she said. I want y'all to hear what she said. She's like a federalist. Like she gonna sell us out something, right? Just listen to her. She weird.
Is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150.
And just to let y'all know, this is our last topic for today, okay?
Countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
know? The question is, how many?
Just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your
And-
Homeland Security Secretary said that
Well, no,
85% of
I'm not
apprehensions.
finished. We have
It's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
That's when you know somebody backfooting and pussyfooting. That's what they call it. Talking around it. He just asked for a number.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies.
It is.
Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours
Mm.
of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before
Oh my God. This is a Hinyard. She gets on my nerve like Hinyard. That's why I really don't talk about her. She pisses me off. I'm gonna be honest. Because I see through her. And I know what she did. You know, she sent single mothers to jail because of truancy, because they badass kids. You drop your kids there in the morning in the front door and the kids walk out. She made people lose their job, put them in jail. I was fucking disgusted. I'm sorry. I'm feeling like a Hinyard. Stop cursing. Don't be like that. We're in the morning show. Oh, she pisses me off, but I'm gonna move forward. I can't trust her.
the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called
And-
the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021. It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the. Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
you had
please.
the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and they
in the
didn't
middle
bring up
of
that bill.
responding to
So-
the point you're raising.
Okay.
Listen to what he says. They had all three levels to get this bill through. Why didn't it go through? And they keep blaming Trump for this. Y'all have to really listen.
And I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
Finish.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
I'm sorry, she gaslighting me. She sound like a hen. Like, I have been the first black mayor. That's basically her way of saying she did something.
Trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of.
So she's blaming Trump for the bill, but he's telling you he's going to show the Democrats that actually killed the bill. So are some of the Democrats working with the Republicans to sabotage each other? Is that what you're saying here? I'm trying to figure out, because if that's what you're saying, that's exactly why GraceLevi is the way she is, and no one had nothing to do with the bullshit. But I'm just trying to figure this out, because she keep blaming Trump. How did he made a phone call? He killed the bill. So did he call these 6 people?
Fixing a problem. And in this election, This is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing
Six
it.
Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants.
Look at you, Cory Booker. And Sanders. You did too? I had to pause because I like Sanders. What do you got going on? What do you got? We needed a border bill. I don't know what this border bill was, but we needed something because whatever she did not get passed, allegedly, it just turned the tides because this wasn't going on when Trump was in the office. I'm just going to be honest. Shit. Excuse me. They said, oh, I was talking to somebody, he built a stupid fence. It was people could jump over it. Well, it's better than these thousands of people just walking on by. That's something better than nothing. Listen, I'm not surprised at Cory Booker. He came from Jersey. He literally used Newark as a stepping stone. When Mayor Shopton got locked up for doing what Henry's was doing, selling property, gentrifying Newark, Mayor Cory Booker came in afterwards, tricked the people. I'm just gonna be honest. He was so good at what he did. He moved himself from wherever he came from. He came in like Obama. I don't know where the hell he came from. And he moved into one of the worst hoods in Newark and solicit votes, help people, did some things, but he kind of stepped on Newark and moved forward and kind of sold us out to a lot of his corporate elite people. So they went about it the right way, getting buildings because they pretty much bought them at whatever value it was and kind of priced a lot of us out. Just to kind of go to the left, because I said Cory Booker, this motherfucker. So you were against the bill, the 6 Democrats. There you go. Did Trump call them? I'm just saying because they keep blaming Trump. So I'm trying to figure out, because people don't like when I ask these detailed questions. They're like, no, don't ask that. Don't ask that. Well, I'm asking.
Into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it would...
There's a few people who were murdered by migrants who literally had just came here a couple of months ago and had criminal history. One young lady was in Georgia as well. It was a college student out here.
Have happened. This is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true.
Don't say the past. Please don't say the past can't be undone.
It's also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage.
I want y'all to listen to, because she said something that's very important to me.
In an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungari's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology?
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well. Brett,
You talking about Trump?
in all fairness, I told you I feel awful
Deflection.
for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before.
Broken.
Let's all.
When she said broken, when did it become a crisis? She's talking around. You see what I'm saying? I want some answers.
Be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges.
Guess what they say about the border agents? They don't support her. They sick of it. They sick of it. We'll listen.
We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett. Well, that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90-plus executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talked to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
Failure.
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again. And
now listen to this. She's never saying she doesn't support or nothing. She keeps saying she's going to follow federal law. That's why I think she's a federalist. And that is a problem. That's a problem because federalists is people who are like connected to the United Nations, look at the best interest of the people on a global level, not a state by state level. And once we get global conversations going about regulations, rules, and these type of partnerships that connect to each other, we on a local level, if that is such set in stone, does this make sense? Or supersedes what's going on with us because we're getting funding from the feds, just like they did with this, where people was in trouble and the state was like, fuck it, well, I will need your federal funding. Does that make sense? This is what scares me about her. Listen to what she says. We follow federal laws. And remember this, just because it's law doesn't mean that it's right. A lot of laws was put in place in the United States. Black codes, slavery was legal. Can I say more? Were they right? Were they right? Because they were law. Please answer that.
As Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations from the Sinaloa.
You know, you prosecuted a whole lot of people and Americans. We afraid of that shit, especially when you say, I follow federal law. What about our state law? What about our human rights? Huh? You know, federal laws is made by men, made by your friends. I'm just saying it's scary. Listen closely to what she's saying.
Loa cartel, to the Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Let's just stop right here. Wasn't we just talking about what the prisons need in the United States? And we don't need this shit. We don't. Do y'all think we need that? Let's move forward.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to...
What is a medical necessity that you have to change your gender? That is the only mental illness where you can get the most biggest drastic change ever done in the United States. Body dysmorphia. That's what that's called. Any other mental illness, you don't get funded to fix it or to whatever they're doing. This is weird. This is weird.
People in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment surgeries?
I will follow the law, just as I think
you want to change that. Because we need funders to do something else, like put these people in workforce programs and give them skills like what we just saw, like firefighters. But you okay with that? I will follow the law. Listen, y'all, she's scary.
Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those
about Trump
ads, trying to.
This is frustrating. We're going to just say a little bit more, and I'm about to sign off. I'm going to let y'all watch this for yourself, but this is another gaslighting, manipulative thing. This is what I even tell my kids. When I'm getting on you and we're talking about you, why are you talking about what your sister did? Oh, she did it too. That is deflection. That is deflection and manipulation. That's what she keep pointing back to Trump. Let's talk about you. And then this is so funny because this is another part I want to get to. It's just we have to get to it because she couldn't answer this.
Create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do.
Somebody was talking about that last night when I went to that marketing event. Like she's going to make 2 million houses affordable. How are you going to do that? Hold on. Because if you put pressures on the landlords to say, okay, I'm putting a federal law out to say that you can't charge this much or this percentage of the fair market value or your bills or something like that, whatever way she set it up, the pressure is going to still be on us, the private investors, us, the public. And it's not going to really get on to the bank where the market is inflated because of the people who own the property. So she has to cap these hedge funds that's purchased all these properties. Also, the interest rate is through the fucking roof. The requirements for loans, FHA loans, need to be changed. People have literally been ungainfully employed for like on and off, on and off. There needs to be a major reform. So I wonder what she's actually planning on doing because I don't want to hear, I only 200,000 houses available. Who is going to suffer and how the hell is this going to work? I don't want to hear the punchline.
To strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's
Wow.
economy. I am offering a plan that is about
I'm gonna
taking care of young parents
Here.
and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs.
Stop. This is important too. Her plan, listen to the people who reviewed her plan. Listen to the people. Are they us or are they big corporations just like Trump who support Trump? Listen.
Moody's and recently the Wall Street Journal, and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Listen.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and
she scared me.
Others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
That's not enough. No, I'm sorry. First and foremost, what she said to me was scary when she said, "Oh, I'm not like them because I haven't been in Washington my whole life, and you have a different way of thinking. You think like a prosecutor. It's dangerous. Prosecutors think from a whole different perspective. If you watch what goes on in the YSL trial and the marked behavior between the defense and prosecutors, they are Joe Catch a Dog. Whatever they feel is their target, they're going to just do it no matter who they hurt, no matter what the hell goes on. That was scary to me. Now she went in a little bit about her housing plan, which is I'm tired of hearing this shit. Excuse my language. I'm tired of tax deductions on the backside. What the hell are we gonna do with tax credits? I don't want tax credits. I want them to lower the interest rate. I want them to lower the amount of the housing market. That's what I think I want. I don't want tax credits no more. I'm tired of tax credits. Ain't y'all tired of tax credit? And then you want to give $25,000 for people who qualify as first-time home buyers. How many people actually qualify as first-time home buyers right now? You at least have to have 1 year and a half. And if you're working part-time, that's 2 years of consecutive pay stubs, W-2s, taxes filed. This is a whole damn process. And most of us are knocked out the market. That's why I do what I do as a real estate legal consultant, getting y'all into tax liens and tax deeds. We locked out the market. So I don't really like her plan. I don't like it. I don't need $25,000 in credit because a lot of people won't be able to even get it because they don't qualify. You gotta qualify first. Even when they were talking about like and I want y'all to watch the rest of this for yourself, but I wanted y'all to hear some key things, especially when she talk about we gonna follow the law. What about what the hell the people want? The law ain't always right. But as we was about to say, I hope the thought didn't go out my head. We're talking about the it was one more thing I was just about talking. I think I just jumped out. That was God saying, you at the 2-hour mark. It's enough. So I think we're going to kind of like wrap it up because I think that last I had one more thing I wanted to say. Let me see if it come back to me because it was important. It was about this.
I've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country.
I'm sorry. I was waiting for her to say the word in the past that can't be undone, that has been burdened. I was just waiting for her to say her major punchline. That's just been, so she's saying, listen, can I just replay this so I can shut up? This is our last part.
We've been burdened with small businesses extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years. So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about.
Listen to him.
You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
Me either. And the people who watching this don't know what you're talking about because you're gaslighting. How do you go to say she didn't know what to say? This was the most important part, I think, where he said, you've been in the office for 3 years. You are the turning page. What are you turning from? You? Well, no, from Trump trying to run for election. That's what you're turning the page from? We watched for 3 years all of these states and prosecutors go after Trump. That's what you want to turn the page from? Girl, she couldn't even answer the question right. I'm going to leave off on that note. There's only a few more minutes left on this. This is a 26-minute clip from Fox News Channel. I just wanted to go over some of the key elements that I found very amazing. It was like, wow, this is weird. That's the best way to say it. So what we're going to do is just break this up throughout the weekend, and we're going to kind of hit the topics that we talked about today. Thank you for being with us on one of our first episodes. So I'm going to call it Let's Talk About It. Is that corny? Or we're going to do weekly recap? Which one should I call it? Okay. I think we should do call it weekly recap, just like what we did just now, trying to hit everybody, even Hinyard and all of that. So with that goes to say, I appreciate you guys for being here with GraceLevi and actually, participating and listening. I know a lot of you guys follow from Dalton, so I appreciate you guys expanding your horizons. You see, we kind of in deep doo-doo when it comes to Georgia elections because it is going to affect everyone. This is a primary state, and question is, do you think this is going to turn back red after what we just, or it's going to stay blue because they're not going to basically stop the election if they think it's fraud, and they're not doing no hand ballot counts out here? They like, nope, no quality assurance out there. We need it faster. Let's just get it out there. We let the computers do it. I think we're in deep doo-doo. But with that goes to say, I say stay positive, stay ready, stay dope, and stay focused on your upkeep. Mental, spiritual, and financial at this point. And just know we got to stick together. So I'll see you later on this week. Look out for some of these videos that's going to be chopped up and put out there in the algorithm. Thank you for supporting GraceLevi in my transition. I love you guys.
Answer. Because you are that, you are capable. You are gifted and you are so unique. All of the things that you may hate about yourself are your strengths. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be different. And it's so okay to just be. The world awaits to receive you.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.